Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Hey guys, let's pile in here for a second. Uh, yeah, I'm Mexican Charlie. I'm going to give you my thoughts in a few minutes. We're in Ireland. What I plan to do is give a little recap of the COVID data that's coming out. We've got some new stuff to talk about. And then I want to pivot into talking about the situation in this country and in Great Britain as well. I'm sure a friend in Ireland is aware of the stuff going on in London. Uh, And Alex is giving us a first-hand account of what's going on in Philadelphia. Yeah, it's a very sad day. It's a very sad day, and I will talk a little about mob mentality. I don't know quite what to do about the situation we're in, but much of this week we are going to be talking to people that hopefully can help us. Sounds horrible, they're saying. Sounds horrible.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see.
In the past, we've always used the blue ones.
No. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me
Hang
turn
on.
it down.
Sound is low.
Oh, it's low?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that?
How about now? Testing 1, 2, 3. Any better?
Test 1, 2. Is it going through my
It's rough.
computer?
Yes, it's not good.
Mm-mm. Okay, let me get the other one.
So hold on a second. Fuzzy and low.
It's fuzzy and loud. So let's not be working through the earbuds. Let me double check and make sure they're
Fuzzy, static, like in a cave.
not. Oh,
Good, thank you for the feedback.
it
But
must
hang
be
on,
going through my computer.
we'll look at see if the Bluetooth is hooked up. Hold on 1 second. I can't reach it. Give me a minute. We're going to look for something better. Do you have the wired one? It's manageable. Zach says. Got a second. Give me a second. 1 second. Oh, they hear Susan well, so it's going through the mic on the computer, not through the headset.
Oh, I'm over here now.
I know, but they heard you. Riots in Boston too, Karen. 1 second. 1 second. I know. Frisbee, I'm going to answer this question if I can. The COVID antibodies probably last about a year. Probably. We don't know. Hang on, there's a... Here we go.
Little
There's a
knots.
tangle of stuff
I
that
know.
we're trying to get to here. The blue one does work, but somehow.
You like the blue? There's
Yeah,
only
so
one earbud you did.
It's okay. It's all right. It has the best sound.
Okay.
I'm going to do this.
If
You're
it
gonna give me
reaches.
So tell me, how's that? Hi, Natalie. I know I'm feeling depressed too. How is that? Oh, both earbuds. Oh, no, there's one here. Is that better? I know, Mark. They've updated the numbers. I'm going to go over them a little bit. Hey, oh, Cindy Kays is in there. Hi, Cindy. Give us a hint on what's ahead, Cindy, or call us. Perfect, Sarah says. Better, good. Okay, so let's chat. So what I want to do. Oh, too loud now. So. Okay. Good. That's good. Oh, now it's quieter. Wait, hang on. Hold on. Give it a second. How's the volume now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now it's a little low. Good. Some people are saying so.
It's a little low because I turned it down.
Okay. So what I want to do is I want to go through some of that COVID data, and then I want to pivot to talk about our country. And again, Cindy, feel free. Chaos. Well, thank you, Cindy. I need a little more direction than that. But chaos is what I'm concerned about. And this week we're going to have guests that hopefully can help with that. I've got Leo Terrell coming in, and I've got Tyrus, and I've got other friends of mine that I'm hoping will help. I'm trying to get Laura King, Rodney King's daughter, in to just help us make sense of all this, because I'm in no position to make sense, really. I will talk about mob mentality. If you want to read about it, there's a book called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. There's another book by somebody named Le Bon, Lebon. I think it's just called Crowds. And those little books have been highly criticized, but I'm here to tell you that they're onto something. That there's a whole literature now saying that, oh, mobs are only good. No, they're not. People lose themselves in mobs. I mean, just look what happens on Twitter. I mean, look at the stuff that people do on Twitter they would never do in real life. So, still saying a little low, Susan. So, just a little bit. So let's go over some of the COVID data very quickly. Here's first of all, what my goal is today to get us all to feel a little better. Does that sound like a good goal? Because God knows, if you are just out in the world, it is all anxiety provoking. If you watch the media, it's all chaos, as Cindy said, and I don't think this is good for us. I just think we have to figure out a way to make sense of things and move things in a positive direction. I, I've talked to I have friends that are in Black Lives Matter, and friends and colleagues, and I think the demands in each city are slightly different. In Los Angeles, they are asking for no police, no jail, and the removal of the DA. I think they may get the removal of the DA, but I don't think they're going to get no police and no jail. I think those are unrealistic goals. And unfortunately, their peaceful protests appear to have been hijacked. I mean, these are tragedies that were being peacefully protested, that everybody was on the same side. And it seems to me that some nefarious sorts hijacked the whole thing. And that's really unfortunate. It's really sad. Really, like you said, it's a sad day. So let me talk a little bit about COVID. So the COVID data is showing a nice plateauing everywhere. 538 has a bunch of models that they show where things are really plateauing, particularly in terms of the death rates. So there is, I know you almost forgot about COVID. I know, and that's the problem. So the question is, are we going to see a tick up as a result of people essentially going to NFL games? More people than were congregated at an NFL game, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, we know that yelling and singing and that kind of thing is the optimum transmission. The question is, can it happen out of doors? So my sound is still weird, Mitch. Help me with this, guys. Andrew saying, seems like they went down a projected death in Texas and way up in California. That's exactly right. So Andrew, what I'm concerned about, first I'm concerned that these congregations, these demonstrations have resulted in some transmissions, and we're going to find out soon enough. It'll be in the next week or two, and we'll see. Number two, California is stubbornly plateaued. California is not turning down. And I agree with you, Andrew. It turned down in Texas, it turned down in Georgia, it turned down in a lot of other places in spite of moving about. So that means that moving about is not the problem. It's either A, lack of compliance with the masks and distancing, though I certainly see people doing so. And a part of me, and Andrew, I want you to think about this because you've been very good about presenting some scientific data to me. Maybe we closed down literally too early in California. Maybe all we did was push our curve downstream, and it was inevitable that there would have to be a certain level of transmission within the community that happened everywhere else in all the other states, did not really happen in California. And yeah, New York has a lot less. So I'm wondering if this has something to do with what a good job we've done, and that we literally have just plateaued everything, which was the goal. Let's be fair, that was the goal. It wasn't to eliminate deaths or eliminate cases. It was to flatten the curve. And I think it's stubbornly persistent in California. Now, if you look at the numbers nationwide, it's also a little bit plateau-y, though generally trending down, particularly the death rate trending down. So it's really California. It's really California that I'm worried about right now. I'm looking at your comments here. So that's the COVID situation. We'll find out if all the. All right. So one thing I've been talking. Achilles heel of this pandemic. What's interesting to me is that the incidence of asymptomatic carriers were markedly elevated in the homeless population, which I find fascinating. There also was a new article that came out today, I think it was in New England Journal, talking about the T cell characteristics of people who are asymptomatic carriers. So we may be able to really nail down exactly what it is about the immune system function in those individuals that are getting asymptomatic carriers. I am trying to set up a relationship with a company that has a way of isolating those T cells, and I'm hoping they'll be able to say something meaningful about that. Natalie, yes, you do need to wear masks. You do need to distance. If for no other reason than to please don't squander this opportunity, let's prove that sheltering in place is not as effective or not more effective than just us behaving ourselves out in the world.
There was an article today that said could nearly half of those with COVID-19 have no idea they are infected.
If we see outbreaks, we'll be able to trace it back to these asymptomatic carriers. One of the interesting questions is how long will they be carrying, shedding virus in asymptomatic carrier? I would imagine about 2 to 4 weeks. So again, that's part of the reason we're all wearing masks and distancing, is so just in the event that one of us is an asymptomatic carrier, we are not exposing other people to it. That's really the reason that we need to be systematic in continuing to practice so-called social distancing and hands washing. I was listening to, you can't hear us?
Sorry, it's okay.
It's one of...
I hit a button and a mic popped up. Doing this on an iMac, it's not that easy, okay?
So...
It's very small.
I don't know who this is. Whoops. I accidentally blocked that person. I thought you had a good question. I blocked you by accident.
What was it?
About somebody spreading fear, and I just wanted to know what it was, but it's gone.
Accidentally blocked him?
Yep.
Oh.
I didn't, and there was no name on there. It was weird. Yeah,
Go to
Cindy
the
tells
other
me the
platform.
mic is good. So when Susan shows slides, I go away. I got it.
Oh, your sound goes away?
Yes. When you show slides, I go away. So what was I talking about? Tell me.
Your voice should be coming through with the picture. Oh, wow.
Yeah, 50% of people wear masks in North Carolina. Yeah, the idea is that we need to do this systematically because there can be asymptomatic carriers out there. And the idea is that we need to protect, if we're one of those people, from sort of transmitted to the outside world. So here we have an opportunity that we should not squander to practice proper social distancing and hand washing, because the probability is that staying at home, the isolating in place, was an overreach, was probably unnecessary. And Alex, back to your COVID numbers, in California, it's staying stubbornly plateaued, perhaps because we shut down too early and that we're not necessarily practicing proper mask wearing. Now, there's a big question here, how much seasonality is going to figure into this too. So we'll see. So I would say I wear a mask. I think it's, they let you go into restaurants and eat. You don't have to wear a mask in restaurants, and the rest of the personnel there does wear a mask. So the idea today is try to calm everybody down, right? Let's try to keep things calm. Yeah, the overall death rate in the country is coming down very nicely. The infection rate is a little bit stubbornly plateaued, but it's generally on a downturn, particularly the one undocumented use. And of course, the hospital use is on a steady downward trend. So overall, we're making great progress in spite of beginning to move about. So the fact is, we are ending up with a fog of war where the governors were faced with a very sad, very difficult situation. I think the locking down was probably a mistake, even in retrospect, but I don't fault them for the decision to do so, because these were hard decisions. And now I'm saying don't squander this opportunity. Keep practicing safe distancing and masks and all that stuff. So we won't have any further outbreaks, and we don't have to have any further lockdown. Adam, good article in New Yorker about homelessness. What specifically are they talking about there? So again, it's the asymptomatic carriers that are somewhat of the Achilles heel of this thing. So the idea today is try to calm ourselves. What do you guys think about, I'm looking at the thread, what do you think about the outbreaks? the violence, the looting, versus the peaceful protesting, which essentially everybody's behind. I don't know anybody that's not behind that. How do we separate these two things? How do we hey, always looking at itself, get your facts straight. What I said was the data, when it's over, will be similar to the flu. Follow Dr. Fauci's recommendations. Don't look at what trolls put together on a video. Check your facts. Every single time I said, follow Dr. Fauci's recommendations. He knows how to get through this. I've worked with him, alongside him, since the AIDS epidemic. So stop with the trolling. Stop with the nonsense. I don't care. It's not important. It's totally ridiculous that you look at out of context stuff but put together by a troll, and you consider that to be my position. That is ridiculous. I'll say it again. Numbers will be similar to the flu because I knew we would adopt. I knew Dr. Fauci would get us through this, and I knew we would have innovation in this country. And I didn't know exactly how contagious it was. I didn't know quite how much worse than the flu it was. Dr. Fauci stated it. I adopted his position. Never came off that position. So stop it. Stop it with your nonsense. So, Alessandro, looting is asymptomatic, a bigger issue. What do you think? Lewis, I think everybody, he's asking, is Fauci wrong a few times? Of course he was. This is a very difficult thing to predict. They're in a fog of war. The virus is in charge. Everyone's trying to make decisions based on what the virus is doing. And the government was in positions of protecting us, hard decisions, of preparing for the worst case scenario. Fauci never recommended lockdown. He never did. He recommended what we're doing now with the masks and safe distancing. And the government has scared everybody, so I think I hope they're more likely to do the safe distancing. But my fear is they're going to start rebelling against it. And again, we will see what happened with the demonstrations, whether these large congregations are going to result in any transmission. That's exactly what I said, Randy. Follow Dr. Fauci. Let him be your North Star. I've said it every single time. Unless you cut it out and show a video where that left off, then good for you for being an idiot and thinking that what appears on a troll's thread is a reflection of reality. Good research on your part. Well done. Okay. Now what is this? Okay, so let's talk about what's going on in the world. Are people in the middle of it? Are you feeling okay about it?
It was always within itself. Right?
TD, I apologize for getting wrong. I said it very specifically. The infectivity and the brutality in certain cases of the virus. When Dr. Fauci said it's worse than the flu, I heard that and adopted that with him. We both had gotten that wrong. I said, but continue. But what I got right was, if you want to look at the whole apology, was follow Dr. Fauci. That's what I said every time. Okay. You're not feeling good, Josette. Why are you not feeling good? Yes, and Miss Winnie, I said the mask will prevent you from touching your face, which is a very important way of preventing transmission. Also, you don't transmit to other people. Okay. You're scared. You're in Minneapolis. Is there, Erica? Is there still National Guard there? I'm trusting that things are sort of. Yeah. Can I comment on Washington State? All right. Let me look at Washington State for you. Washington. Whoops. I hope they don't put DC in there for me. Way down. Everything's way down. Although you were the beginning of this whole thing, a lot of good testing. The documented confirmed infections are 7. I mean, that is way down. Death rate, I don't know if this is DC or death rate is way down, like 4. So if this is the state of Washington, let me make sure it is. Yeah, it seems to be. Extremely good situation there. I wish we were as good in California. Bad idea to send in the National Guard, Jesus says. Well, then it would have been a total loss, right? Then they would have continued to. There was been more bodily harm. There would have been more businesses destroyed. I don't know.
I have a picture of a National Guard crying. See if they can still hear you.
Okay. Do you hear me now still? We put up a picture for people are leaving New York City in hordes, Selena says. So,
Sorry about
yeah,
the
Sonia, it's weird that they have to remember COVID now in the face of the riots and looting. National Guard Dirk is in Los Angeles, and but they're mostly standing down, it seems to me.
We're glad.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever they got to do to keep people safe, right? Who will pay for the looting? The business owners and the insurance companies, and to some extent, the taxpayers, right? You'll be paying for this. They still hear me during the picture being up.
They are? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Leo Terrell, who I'm going to have in here on Tuesday, keeps saying just that there's criminals. There's protesters whom we should be standing behind, and there are criminals, and the criminals should be arrested and prosecuted, and that's that. Right, Randy says the protesters are not criminals. That is exactly correct, and we have to see that, somehow find that separation.
So is tagging?
Tagging is criminal, of course. They're looting in Santa Monica now. I did see, Harley, that they were demonstrating in Santa Monica. Hi, Harley. Susan says hi. Camden, New Jersey police marched with the protesters. I know, that's how it should be, right? No one disagrees on what is being protested. There were bad, horrible behaviors, and they need to get on the other three that were accomplices, and I trust that they will. The wheels of justice aren't instantaneous. And by the way, if you do things instantaneously, excuse me, I sneeze. Sorry.
COVID.
If you do things instantaneously, you'll make mistakes, and these guys won't be properly prosecuted. So let's let the wheels of justice turn properly.
So Harley lives near Fred, and he lives near the.
So we're going to have Jimmy Oyang in here tomorrow,
He lives near the farmer's
and
market.
Fred Stoller, who lives near the farmers market as well, where there was a massive looting yesterday.
And I want Harley to call in and talk about his experience.
Right now?
Tomorrow.
Harley will call in tomorrow to talk about what he observed there.
With Fred and Jimmy.
Okay. Thank you for the blessings. Does everyone agree that Antifa should be in a domestic terrorist group? And then the converse question becomes, what do we do with white supremacists? I mean, it's an interesting conundrum, is it not? Be interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on that. Well, that's the question, Ashley. Will the protests add more COVID cases? My bet is it will in California, because we are stubbornly pretty plateaued here with a lot of cases. I don't know the regions where most of those cases are occurring or whether people came from those regions. If you look at LA County, it looks to me like it's possible that could have been in a similar region. Michael says it's Antifa's fault that we are being separated from the peaceful protesters. Yeah. I don't know your point. Whatever that PP glider is, I don't know your point. I don't quite get it. There's some riots in Boston right now, Jennifer. Yeah. Have I had the antibody test? Yes, I did, Roy. I had it with one of the cartridges, which are not particularly accurate, but I was negative with that test. Sending the National Guard is the right thing to do, some people are saying. Labeling activist groups terrorists is a slippery slope for free speech. That's right. That's why I'm asking about the white supremacists. I agree with you on that. The convention center is current what? Help me with that. I see what you're saying there. Teresi, where is Fauci changing his recommendations? And please let me know what they specifically are. You can go to the CDC website if you want to know their specific recommendations. They've really been about the same. Paul, is Corolla moving to Texas? He would if he could. He really would. There's no doubt in my mind that he would do that. He was very pleased and impressed with Texas. Are gyms doing more harm than good being shut down? I think gyms could practice proper social distancing. In the meantime, sunshine, running outdoors could really help you. Can I speak to the article regarding COVID being a vascular disease? COVID is a vascular disease. Not COVID. the cytokine activation, the dreaded complication of COVID, in my opinion, from the beginning has involved the lining of arteries, the endothelia. That is where much of this interaction with the cytokine system occurs. And eventually you get sort of not just inflammation of the arteries, but antibodies against the lining of the artery, and that's where you start seeing the clots. It's called an antiphospholipid syndrome. It doesn't respond normally to the usual anticoagulants, which is, I mean, some of the cases I had that went bad, I had them already on anticoagulants, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Has a question.
Where's Fred Stoller?
He's on Facebook.
Okay.
You see him?
Nope. What'd Fred say?
I stepped outside with a mask, wasn't socially distanced to see the protest. Was that a risk? Was outside.
Yeah, I think that was a risk, but I think the risk is low compared to inside, right? I think outdoor, I think that's one of the interesting things that we will see if how this outbreak, how far anything spreads within this crowd, is that I believe outdoors is a very unlikely place for transmission. However, this was an environment people were yelling and there's fluid coming out of their mouth, and not everybody had masks, and so yeah, so I think Fred, you're probably okay.
We'll talk to him tomorrow about that.
Yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow about it. I think you're going to be okay, but
He still needs a haircut too.
Fred needs a haircut. Isn't he? Thank you guys. I appreciate the support. The cure for COVID is being healthy and taking your vitamins. I'm afraid that's not true. I wish that were true. It'd be a nice, simple way of dealing with this. The cure for COVID is don't get old. That's the cure for COVID. And even then, there were some young people, obviously, that had complications. If there was heart damage from stimulant use, is it possible for a 23-year-old to fully recover? Depends what the heart damage was. If it was just on the inner lining of the heart, you can do okay. But if it was a through and through damage, that's pretty much something you have to live with your whole life.
So Santa Monica is getting looted.
That's what somebody said.
No.
Boy, I know it is so confusing and so sad and so. I'm very glad I'm not in a position of authority right now, because I feel like we have to get behind our leaders a bit and let them do what they need to do, though they do need to lead. And some of them are not leading, and they are specifically Huntington Beach. They're specifically putting people in harm's way by not leading, and to just be unrealistic about what you're dealing with, and not understand that the group is hijacking the peaceful protesters, and to deal meaningfully with them.
Huntington Beach is socially distancing and protesting.
I see. So there's a Huntington Beach protest. There's one in Santa Monica as well. What about Colorado? You want to hear a little bit about Colorado? Colorado's been pretty good. Hang on. Well, I know that Pennsylvania's having a tough time. So Colorado looks almost exactly, let me see here. They're very similar to California, just on much smaller scale. Very similar, where things are sort of pushed off into the distance here into August. Very similar. It's interesting, but it's going to go away, and it's not very likely. It's the numbers are pretty low compared to California. Of course, Colorado's a smaller state, but it's almost exactly like California. So I don't know when Colorado shut down, but if my hypothesis is correct, we might have shut Colorado and California down. It sounds counterintuitive, but literally too early. I was looking at Minnesota yesterday, and I don't think there's a big problem there. I mean, in terms of, because I know the demonstrations were massive there, but the number of deaths per day are like 20 and dropping rather precipitously. The cases per day are like 500 with an estimate around 1,000. Again, it's across the state, and then generally hospital resource use is expected to drop down. So generally it looks pretty good.
It'll be interesting to see if the numbers go up.
Protests in Salt Lake City
I
too.
feel sorry for people that do now. For the people that didn't go out, I feel sorry for them.
Flora May, yeah, the cops can still be charged, and what I'm saying is they will be charged. I think those 3 accomplices will be charged, but I'm saying have some patience with that, because if they rush to charge them, they may not have a good case. They need to properly go through the process so they make sure their case is a good one. Florida was looking good. I don't know that I looked at them today, but Florida's been really looking a lot like Georgia, in fact. Very low hospitalization use, very low, particularly for a state that size. Confirmed cases around 1,200, that's as of today. And the death rate falling, but a little bit slowly. So there's a little bit of a plateauing in Florida too, a little bit. So, and again, there were a lot of demonstrations in Miami, and so we will see if there's much that that comes out of that. So, well, Christine, how do we fix this together? So I'm going to be asking people all week um, if we can figure out how to do this, right? I mean, we've got to get people in here that.
So sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's very distressing, and it. I feel like it needs to be solved, but I just don't know how to do it. I don't know what we do.
It takes the attention away from the cause when people are violent. And
Correct. It hijacks the appropriate cause that everyone. I mean, I don't know anyone that's not on the side of Black Lives Matters as it pertains to these excesses by police. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't
We're all
know.
on the side of George's family and George.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well.
I can't imagine who wouldn't be, but to destroy a city over it is.
Yeah, I see a Matt, the protests are in London also as well. I saw that. And that's actually what actually concerned me. That seems to be a coordinated effort to hijack these efforts and bring them to England as well. So it seems like the same group. Mark, I am using IHME as the primary tool. I'm also using 538 and looking at all the different models that they put up there, 538.com. They only seem to really, and I also use some of the LA County data too, to understand what's going on locally.
We won't really know for 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, we won't know. It looks 80% of cases are come on within 3 to 7 days.
Really?
So in a week, we'll know whether by next weekend, we'll know whether these demonstrations resulted in any cases. Yes, Susan Simon, I think it will work. That's the point. It will work. Masks and indoor distancing. It will work, and it probably will work as well as staying at home. That's what the data suggests. So, yes, you saw somebody stealing a cheesecake during looting. Yes, that's what happened. Yeah, I don't know if they took out, what are those cookies called?
Oh my God, all the meringue.
Meringue. So silly.
Yes,
Jay Rosada. It does remind me of the Rodney King riots, and I got to know Rodney very, very well. I still know his daughter Laura very well, and I talked to her last week. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get her on Tuesday or Wednesday, but Rodney would have been really upset by this. He was not in favor of rioting. He was not in favor of taking to the streets. He felt like these things got out of hand and taken advantage of, and were from his. I don't want to speak on his behalf. We'll see what Laura says. The biggest thing is that Laura was upset with the actual behavior of the officers in Minneapolis, and her focus was there, and that's not a bad place to put your focus, because it's easy to look at the excesses there. Nicole, hydroxychloroquine has not been banned. It has been, the FDA does not tell doctors how to practice medicine. They do not dictate. What we have is some data that shows that hydroxychloroquine probably not a good idea for very advanced COVID cases. Still a question whether it could be useful as a prophylactic agent or early in the course. I've seen doctors prescribing it a lot. What's the matter?
They're looting Santa Monica.
Yeah, so that's the National Guard. We'll head over there probably. Yeah, I know, Alex. MLK was against it too.
The streets are full of kids. They're all kids.
You mean young people?
Yeah.
Mean kids like 20-somethings or children?
And then there's a group of them with red jackets on that are kind of telling people where to go and what to do. Taking shoes. They like the shoes.
Yeah, Teresa, I agree with what you just said there. I'm gonna. Well, look, let's kind of wrap it up. If people have suggestions, let's bring them all week. I will do. Kilgore. Small business owners are not rich. You gotta understand they're the ones that create the economy and create job, and you've. Maybe the insurance companies are, but it really is working against everything, particularly on the heels of a shutdown from a pandemic.
The looters either wear similar black hoodies or red hoodies.
Okay.
But they're in uniform.
Eric, I think face-to-face AA meeting starting up is great. I'm sorry it's only being limited to 10 at a time. It's very sad. So let's bring all our stuff here during this week. I'm going to try to bring people in that have ideas about where we're going and what we should do. And I'm in no position to.
Look at their marching.
I know, I've seen that.
There we go.
Yes, breach. Yes, stay healthy.
Ocean Boulevard.
Can you get reinfected after having had COVID? We don't think so, but we don't know for sure. Carrie, I'm glad you appreciate it. The idea is just to gather together here and see if we can calm ourselves and come up with solutions. Yeah, Laura, me too. Sad and upset. That's about the best way I can describe this. Yes, no one, Lizzie, we've forgotten about COVID. It has faded into the background. And we will, again, Jimmy Oyang tomorrow, Fred Stoller, and we will have Leo Terrell and Tyrus and hopefully Laura King in. And Alex, how can you not get upset with it all? How can you not? I mean, it's.
And we're also having Fred Stoller.
Fred Stoller, I said.
Firsthand.
And also.
This is a shot from his house. And also Harley's. Harley lives right around the same area. Mark Garagos sent this picture. It's just so unbelievable what's happened.
We'll bring ideas, bring solutions to the restream, and we will also try to take. We got to watch Space Force that Jimmy's on. That's what he's promoting right now.
Oh yes.
Maybe tonight. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Forgot to ask him for his plugs. I have to definitely do that.
Well, that's the big one. Art, don't play dumb. What does that mean? What are you talking about? I'd love to hear what you're thinking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Play dumb?
I don't know what that means. My daughters and I never got the flu shot. We never get sick. Yeah, that is very flawed thinking. Very flawed thinking.
I mean, some people just are asymptomatic.
Correct.
You said 50% maybe.
30% probably.
Well, they're thinking 40 now.
35%. I understand that the numbers go back and forth. I can pretty much tell you where it's going to land. 35% max.
All checked and like 50% of people had it.
Correct. But now you're talking about the whole population, not a bunch of young males. Right. So it's going to go down from there. But it is very high in the homeless population. A lot of asymptomatic carriers.
They were out in droves yesterday.
Art, I'm still trying to figure out what you're talking about. I'm all in. I'm all ears. And if people have solutions, I'm here listening. Roy, I don't know where you're going with that, but it doesn't seem productive. Who said that?
Adam.
Adam. I don't see Adam.
You change narratives almost daily, he said.
Well, I'm changing to. I don't see Adam. Oh, there he is. Cooter. Yeah. I don't know what narratives you're talking about. I'd love to hear where the difference lies and see if I can address it.
We're a little more anxious today than we were.
Yeah, I'm changing the topic because we've got a different problem on our hands here. And I would love people to talk about solutions rather than.
Mental health is a big deal.
Here's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, here's what's going to happen. Is wait a minute. Adam, I never said that. Stop it. Stop looking at data that you didn't do your research. Stop looking at pieces of tape that somebody put together to harm.
Yeah. Old news.
Yeah, really. Come on. But here's my fear. Here's my fear going forward. Is that we're going to end up with cities with National Guard in place for weeks.
Yep.
That's my fear. And
curfews, and we can't go back to work. We can't go to the restaurants. Everything's going to be locked up.
Yep. There's going to be National Guard lockdown in major cities, and that is not going to be a pleasant thing. I don't think it's going to solve anything. And then the question still is, how do we open back up? How do we make things better? So, breach, our bodies are perfectly capable of defending toxins due to pest, water, food, and air. Breach, go look at an infectious disease textbook. Just read a 1,000-page infectious disease textbook, and you see just from an infection standpoint, what we are prone to. Adam Carolla is calling me. I better go get to him.
Why? What's wrong with Adam?
Yes, Fauci is not a fraud. You should use him as your North Star. I've said that from the beginning. Well, what's the difference between a National Guard lockdown in the last 2 months? That's a really interesting question, Lewis. It is the same thing, isn't it? Except you're going to have people with giant guns on the streets, and I don't know that's the way to live our lives.
I just hope that the looters don't go to the suburbs. Is what
Well, that's when the National Guard will be brought out.
Because once they clean out all the stores, they're going to want to clean out people's houses.
No, Carolla's not listening, because if you were listening, he wouldn't have called me during this. PB Glider, what's your favorite TV show? Susan? Killing Eve? Love Boat? We've gotten addicted to watching Love Boat lately.
So funny.
Yeah, Lewis, and not much more anxiety about going out. You won't be able to go out. You'll be in a lot. You have to show up your papers. It's going to be like a war zone. That is not going to help our economy. That is not going to help our
opening.
It's not going to help deal with the excesses of police. This is really going to be a problem. Mild asthma is not on the risk category for serious complications from COVID. Off the extras, I will tell you, Fauci is an excellent physician. You can trust him. I don't know what, again, garbage you're seeing. Yeah, Schitt's Creek. We're big fans of.
I had to unhide it, though, because YouTube wouldn't let you write shit, so I had to let it free.
Oh, really? Crazy.
I had to let the shit free.
When has quarantining the healthy worked? Roy Joy asks. It's never been tried before. Never. Except in the Middle Ages when it was a horrible failure. So I think what happened was that we got sort of swept into looking at Italy saying, that's going to be us. And then New York got hit bad and the rest of the country went, that's going to be us. And then we had a knee-jerk reaction to shut everything down. And again, it was a fog of war. I understand that. And yes, we've been talking this last hour about the potential of COVID outbreaks in the protesters, and I'm very concerned about that, particularly in California, because California has been stubbornly plateaued and doesn't seem to turn down just yet, particularly in regions, by the way, where they were protesting. Yes, get some sun, Lewis. Get some sun. That's good for your mental health right now. Harley, yes, Harley going to come in tomorrow too, and going to give us a.
I told him to email me on.
Jennifer, how is history repeating itself?
Twitter.
I take no carbohydrates. That's my credo. I really believe the carbohydrate problems is more serious than we know. Who would want to loot a Whole Foods? There's a lot of stuff in there you can take out, of course. What do I think about Trump leaving the WHO? I don't know what that is. Spanish flu is the last time they quarantined the healthy. No, they didn't quarantine the healthy during the Spanish flu. Oh, no. They not at all. This book, this is an entire book about the Spanish flu. I've been studying the Spanish flu, and they absolutely did not quarantine the healthy. They had trouble getting the healthy to wear masks, and they felt the masks were 100% effective, and that's all they were doing at the time. They were quarantining the sick, which is what we've always done. And you got to remember, during this, they didn't know what a virus was. They'd never heard of a virus before, so they were way behind. Okay, so let's kind of wrap things up, Susan. Anything else we need to go over?
Okay, Tyrus is going to call in tomorrow.
Tyrus tomorrow. Hopefully he can help us shed some light on what things.
Tyrus and Jimmy.
Yeah. Yes, I do know that we have left the World Health Organization.
And Harley.
Harley, Jimmy, Fred, they'll all be here tomorrow to talk about what happened.
We're going to have a round table and see if we can figure this out.
And Daniel, why don't they care about the coronavirus anymore, the protesters? Because they care about something else more. And this is faded into the background. And we'll go from there.
And then
so
Jimmy owning tomorrow with callers, so you can call in and ask questions and talk to Drew, and hopefully tomorrow will be a better day.
We'll see. Again, we got to figure out how to find our way out of this.
And I would tell everybody to tell their friends to not loot
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
cool.
our advice is don't loot and don't be
So
violent.
Find the kids out there and see if they can.
Tomorrow we're on
calm it all
at
down.
2:30. We'll be on at 2:30 with Jimmy Oyang. So watch Space Force tonight in the meantime. Yeah, Brandon, good humor does go a long way. And so, the people we're having on tomorrow are more lighthearted. So Jimmy's a comedian, Fred's a comedian, and Tyrus can be kind of funny too. So we'll see what he says.
And Harley's hysterical.
Harley's hysterical. Okay.
He's a hypnotist. I
Uh,
just learned that on his Twitter profile.
Interesting. That's interesting.
I know. He was just there. He was near Fred yesterday, and they saw the whole.
Edge, do not stop taking Enbrel. Do not even think about that. Talk to your doctor. Presumably you have rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis or Crohn's disease. Please do not stop medicine without talking to the doctor. Okay, guys, stay well tonight. Stay home if you can. Go to restaurants. If you're open, you spend your money at people's restaurants and things, and see.
Before they close.
Yeah, support businesses. That's.
Get
I think
your
a more productive way to do this than going out and destroying businesses. And
where to find True Niagen.
Where?
DrDrew.com.
DrDrew.com/True Niagen. Yes,
the code
which
Dr. Drew.
somebody asked what diet I'm on. I use the code Drew,
Yeah.
and you get a big discount on that. And I am, in fact, I need to buy some more, so I'm going to go do
So
that.
watch the ad, tell a friend, support us by supporting our sponsors, and we want everybody to be safe and happy, and hopefully we will have a better week.
And Art, I agree with you about history. People, I feel like we're in a time when people have forsaken history, both in terms of an understanding of crowds and how they get whipped up and the behavior of crowds. Study pre-revolutionary France, study revolutionary France. You want to know how it goes? When you tear down existing institutions in a revolutionary fit, it goes bad. It always goes bad and takes decades to come out of. There just isn't an example of it going well that I know of. And whether it's France or Russia or any of these other really and always China, millions of people killed, millions of people displaced. It's not a good thing. And if you want to look at the American Revolution, Revolutionary War, the reality is the American Revolutionary War was kind of a civil war. It was British against British, and people it was almost like us. The actual American Civil War was the South breaking off from the Union. The Revolutionary War was the colonies breaking off from the British Empire, and that's kind of a civil war. Let's face it. So anyway, and by the way, they didn't tear down any institutions. They used all the British institutions that were pre-existing and just built them up. So there we go. Hopefully everybody stays well, and we will see you tomorrow. About a year ago, I was introduced to True Niagen, a supplement specifically designed to boost a key cellular resource called NAD. That's short for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And I was really impressed with the research that showed that increased NAD levels can promote cellular repair, maintain healthy mitochondria, and increase energy throughout the trillions of cells in our body. I've been taking True Niagen ever since, and I am truly persuaded, which is why I'm so excited to welcome them back to the program. Let's get into how True Niagen works. From age 40 to 60, humans can experience a 50% decline in NAD, leaving our cells with a shortage of that incredibly valuable energy resource. Additionally, things like immune stress, poor diet, even alcohol consumption can all deplete our cell NAD levels. Research suggests that increased NAD can support cellular defense against these physiological stressors. True Niagen is designed to boost NAD levels and is backed by clinical research and regulatory approvals. Now, while the research is still evolving, I am truly impressed by the possibilities surrounding NAD and the research behind True Niagen. And I suggest you check out their information for yourself. To learn more about the research, science, and to order your supply of True Niagen supplement, visit DrDrew.com/True Niagen and use the code DREW at checkout for a special discount on orders of 3 bottles or more. So that's my website, DrDrew.com/TRUNIAGEN, and use the code DREW today.